Hello there, YouTube. Happy Cup Tuesday to those who have just joined us. Smoking my Morgan in it. White Night by Hearth and Home. My first smoke. Enjoying it very much as of now. Struggling to keep it lit though, so expect a great number of relights. This is actually my second attempt at this video. I tried to film this sort of a rant on the weekend, but I was so distracted and I was rambling and nervous. I wrote about that in the comments. It was just too many things distracting me, so the video ended up being like half an hour long and didn't make any sense. So I deleted it, and here we go again. Mind you, it will get political, so if someone is strictly anti-political, you can just turn this video off right now. Got asked in the comments, someone was maybe poking fun at me, saying, aren't you supposed to be protesting with the rest of your folks out there in Moscow? As far as I understand, the guy was referring to the protest and unsanctioned meeting regarding the election into the Moscow City Duma, our local parliament. That election took place on Sunday, the 8th. I voted, and for the first time in, as far as I remember, the candidate I voted for ended up winning. And you know, one is supposed to feel good about that, right? I'm not really. I don't know how I feel about this. What I do know, and what is the source of the inspiration for this video, is the sense of irritation I get at the elections. I'm not a political person. I hate politics, and it is my firm belief that those who are into politics professionally, professional politicians, all of them lie. Each and every one is a liar, and politics to me is basically an art of cheating people who vote for you. I really don't believe anyone at this point, but I also believe in a citizen's duty to go and vote for someone. If anyone is familiar with the situation in Russia and in Moscow right now, you probably know that there's the Unified Russia, which is a dominating political party, pro-Kremlin, composed of all sorts of folks. From general, real career politicians to TV hosts, sort of media personalities, etc. It has the overwhelming majority in the parliament, overwhelming majority in local parliaments like the Moscow City Duma. So the whole vote election is basically you're either voting for them or against them. And this year was a funny one because these guys thought that they didn't fare that well at the last election, and the majority of their members were actually giving a party a bad name because they don't do shit in the parliament itself. And the municipal deputy is supposed to take care of the people living in the district, and naturally they are doing absolutely jack shit. Like the lady who was a deputy, who won the previous election. She's a doctor as far as I understand, and she probably didn't even attend the meetings. So naturally these guys cannot, they're giving their party, Unified Russia, sort of a bad rep. So nowadays, this election, Unified Russia didn't present any official candidates. They all went in as independent candidates. But as you may guess, it was blatantly obvious. Who these people really are, because if a guy is I don't know, he runs as an independent candidate, but he is also the secretary of the Moscow branch of Unified Russia. It's obvious. Again, you can also look at their budgets, because guys from the opposition they put their effort into it this year, and they made a big table with every candidate listed with links to their programs. Those who actually have programs, some of them don't. Their official links to the parties, so he is representing the Communist Party or I don't know how to translate another party. Their budget, and they have highlighted in this table the candidates there that claim to be independent but are actually either sponsored or straight up appointed by the Unified Russia, and each district had a most an opposition candidate that is has the highest probability of winning if everyone pools their votes together. Quite a nice reference if you are voting against. But even without the table, you know, judging from my district, we've got a guy that claims that he is from the district, although that's technically not true, who has appeared out of nowhere, opened sort of a something like a charity fund or a charity organization helping people a couple of months before the election, and his face was plastered all over the district, all over the local news, local district newspapers, etc. So he was all over the place. So just looking at this, you know, campaign that he held, even me being dumb in relation to politics and having no clue about the guy, even I could see that it was blatantly obvious that he is sponsored by the governing party. And that's what irritated me the most. Like I said, the job of a politician is to trick people. So if they, you know, put their effort, did their homework, and presented us with a viable candidate, you know, like a couple of years in advance, make him look like an opposition, and basically trick us into voting for him, I can understand that, you know, well played, okay. I can also understand the situation where, you know, the government basically says, okay, we are full of shit, just as you suspect. We'll just muscle our way through the election, we'll rig everything, we'll mess with the election and with the results, and push our candidate through by, you know, sheer brute force. I can understand that as well. I cannot sympathize with that, definitely, but I can understand that at least. But this sort of a half-assed attempt at just concocting a candidate out of nowhere and shoving it into your face. You know, them having all the money and all the resources, the media, etc., everything, and this is the best they can come up with, you know. I can understand, you know, brute force. I can understand, you know, clever scheming. I cannot understand this half-assed approach. You know, you have all the resources and You're not doing your homework, basically. Your job is to trick us. That's your job. That's the reason you're getting the ridiculous money you're getting. And you're not putting any effort into this. How come? So I felt cheated, but in a different way. I'm not into politics, but I cannot sympathize with someone who thinks I'm that dumb. And miraculously, I'm not alone, because that guy didn't win the election in this district. And in many other districts of Moscow, the candidates of the opposition, that the most probable candidate per district, they won. So this year we will have probably a genuine opposition in the Moscow Parliament, in the Moscow City Duma. Like a little bit less than half, like 20, I think, opposition candidates went through. By comparison, last time it was like 4 or 5 people. Obviously they couldn't do anything. This half-assed, this farce they put out there, it was just. Remember, I mentioned the lady who was the candidate from this district last time. Who didn't do shit and obviously couldn't run this time. She ran in the neighboring district. They probably voted for her. I don't know. And the last thing I wanted to mention is I don't remember the word again, the turnaround, yeah? The number of people who actually came. It was ridiculously low. Like 20% of the population actually voted. That is also beyond me. This is a reason. That's the reason I answering the guy's comment I mentioned in the beginning of the video. That's the reason I don't go to the demonstrations. I don't fight with the police, etc. It may sound very, very cynical, but I do believe that if this is democracy, and democracy is not the government of the people, it's the government of the majority. Many seem to miss this fine point. And looking at the majority, I must say that we get what we deserve, really. Because I was talking with guys at work, with my friends and acquaintances, and many of them didn't vote because they were tired or didn't have time or were living in another district, not the district they are attached to. So voting means going to another part of the city, spending time. So they didn't vote, and I said to each and everyone, I said the same thing. You don't even get this feeling that you did something, and it's ridiculous. don't believe in this, election, you think that everything will be rigged. Well, if you don't vote, everything will be rigged. For sure. Many people nowadays claim that if you don't vote, put your vote in favor of someone, that vote automatically goes to the unified Russia. It's rigged that way. I don't think it is 100% sure, but there's something to it, definitely. So you don't want to vote, and you have zero hopes for, for this Duma or the parliament or something like that, for changing anything. And yet voting is the only civil way you can, affect the situation. So what are your plans now? Going out, protesting in the streets, getting into fights with the police. I think we got this idea from Europe. Here it doesn't really work, Sure, you can go out, you can protest, you can get into a fight with the police, and you'll end up with a fine or in jail. And it doesn't solve anything. You'll probably be shown on TV. Someone in the West will probably say that is horrible. Russian tyrannical government is, putting their people in jail, not ready for a civil conversation. Well, if everyone is sure that the government is not ready for a civil conversation, what's the point of protesting? To feel good about yourself. I'm fighting the system. Well, first and foremost, these people are ruining their lives. Many of them have families, kids. Is it really worth it? I don't know. I highly doubt that. And if, everyone's in jail, who's going to do the hard work? Because, if you're trying to live in a democratic state, you have to work by the rules. Not protesting, but doing the hard work, The hard work is not in waving some flag in the street and fighting with the police. It's much, much worse. It's, it's the paperwork. It's writing complaints and writing requests about the complaints and going to the meetings, listening to these, fucked up officials who don't give a shit about you, asking them, pushing them again. That's the real, work that we must do. and getting incarcerated is not okay. You're in jail. Now what? Who's gonna do the work? I mentioned that already in one of my videos. Playing by the rules is hard. We all want a simple solution. Punch someone in the face and be done with that. Yeah. But democracy and any real state doesn't work that way. You cannot work this system like that. That's my opinion. But that's the reason I voted, and I'm really happy that my vote made a difference. Maybe it remains to be seen. Maybe the candidate that won in my district is corrupt, or maybe this candidate is indeed a secret agent of the unified Russia. Maybe, I don't know. But I tried. And it makes me feel good. Yeah. Much better than going to a demonstration or a meeting or I tried it once, and my law-abiding gland somewhere at the back of my brain was not feeling okay. So there you have it. This sort of a semi-political rant. My brief account of the election. By the way, I'll keep you posted if this guy and his movement that he hastily organized, if he remains active. I'll tell you about that. I highly doubt that. Yeah. Because, for example, his accounts of this organization on social media, they are dead, I think, at this moment. The fun's over. Anyways, I'm rambling. Thanks for dropping by. Hope you'll find it somewhat interesting and insightful. I don't know. Probably not. But that's the best I can come up with at the moment. So thanks for dropping by, and I'll be seeing you in another one of my videos. Have a great week. See you people. Bye.